Good morning, traders. Welcome to our daily webinar. This will be out on YouTube. It will be the weekly outlook. For traders who follow my weekly outlook, please share it if you like it. For all the traders who are asking on how to join the live sessions that we do, please send me a message on Skype. And please use Skype. I know some of you said, well, you don't have Skype. It's pretty easy. It will take you 3 minutes to download. Literally, it will take you 3 minutes to download. And you can use it only for this purpose because we keep this as a record on Skype. We started this in the very, very early days. When I started, I used Skype. There was no WhatsApp. I started to use the Skype for this purpose. And as a record, we're keeping all the records on Skype. So all my traders are on Skype. What that means if you ever lost access to the live sessions, I would have the recording of the conversation with you. And all you have to do is send me a message on Skype and you will have access immediately. Now, let's say you lost access to Skype. You can always send me a message. And then I would say, okay, here is your Skype name. Try to find it. I'll give you back your Skype name. And then you'll find the email you log on with, and you'll be back on Skype. And once you're there, that's the record for me to get you back into the group. Right. So, and that has happened in the past where people lost their phone, they lost everything. One guy couldn't even remember the emails and anything. But I don't know how people lose all of that, but they lose it. It happens. Right, so my Skype address is MANGAL457, and I'm not moving it from Skype to anywhere else whatsoever, so because all my traders are in Skype. So all those records are being kept there for future reference. If ever any one of them is going to lose access, they'll send me a message here, and then we'll get them back in the group. That's a simple way, right? It could be done all the way, but that's a very simple way. So send me a message in Skype. By the way, I notice a lot of scam WhatsApp in the comments in my thing coming up using my photograph. They use my photograph in a WhatsApp and said, message me here. It's not me. Here's the thing you will have to learn. I do not send you direct messages to join me or to do anything. I'm not going to send you WhatsApp message. I will not even send you Skype messages unless you send me a message and ask for information. I will not be sending you emails unless you're in our email list and we have a promotion, which means we have a week of free video. Then we send you a message that, hey, you can join us at free, right? We do not send you messages every week. We do not do that nonsense. I don't have the time and the patience for that. So if anyone is to send you a message and try to solicit you to buy anything or to do anything, it's not from me. Here's what you can do if anybody send you a message using WhatsApp, email, or anything. You send me a message on Skype using Mangal457. And ask if that is me, and I'll let you know. Because I am not doing it, right? And I'm not in any WhatsApp group, and I'm not in any other group. I have one group, and it's a workplace, and nobody has access to that if you're not a member of the group. It's that simple. You just can't have access to that. And in that case, if you're a member of the group, well, then you know that I'm not sending any message anywhere else. So I'm not trying to do that to anyone. If you would like to join us, and a lot of traders have been asking about the 2 live sessions we give for the $100 access to it. It's not a $100 access for 2 live sessions, although that is very cheap, right? If you calculate 2 per week and it turns out 40 per month and $100, a lot of traders think that is amazingly cheap. It's free. It's not just cheap, it's absolutely free. The $100 goes towards paying for your course. It's an installment program, which means the only thing you would ever pay for, and it's only a single payment, is for the course. So it's not a $100 for a series of live access to our live sessions. You will get access to the live sessions as soon as you decide, I would take the course. Why I'm insisting in you taking the course? Well, that's the only way you're going to become an independent trader. And my only desire here in doing this as part of selling a course is to make you an independent trader. I do not want any other thing to do with that, but to make you an independent trader. And just so you know, I do get a lot of offers to do all kinds of promotion, including brokers who want to be sponsored for these videos, including cryptocurrencies who want to sponsor these videos and sponsor ads in the video and sponsor a whole lot of things. And that is all ways of making money, but I keep refusing them. I do not sponsor, I do not promote any broker. I do not promote any cryptocurrency. I do not promote anybody. I do get those offers and I get them quite a lot. So not promoting anyone. And I still get the emails to be promoted. No, not interested. I can do joint promotion with anybody, which means if they want to give you free education, I will do the webinars. That is why I always offer them that. Any broker come to me and say, hey, how about we educate your traders? And if you want to bring more traders on for us to educate them, I'm on for that. And that's where the conversation always stops. Because that's not their interest. Educating traders is not their interest. So I have a conflict of interest. My job is to educate traders, make you independent traders, make you successful traders. So if you want to join us, send me a Skype message with all the details, you'll get there. Let's move on. So let's start. Dollar index. Dollar index, as we told you, it's kind of coming down, but we can't confirm the downside. I kind of make that very clear, right? Now, if you hear anywhere out there where people are giving you reasons why they think things happen, I can't do that. I'm not a magician, and I do not have inside source. I tried to call Washington and call the Feds to tell me, but they don't answer my call. So I don't have inside source, and I don't think any one of the other guys have inside source. Sometimes the Fed themselves don't know why it's happening. That's why they react after the fact, right? They don't know why they have inflation, so they react after the fact. So any video you see, this is why the dollar fall, or this is why the gold went up, or this is why this happened, is BS. Because they're talking out of the other side, right? They should be talking through their mouth, they're talking through the other side. That's not it. Nobody knows. Now, what I'm showing you is what I know and what you can see. Is that whatever they're doing, and I don't care what they're doing, I don't care why they're doing it. I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know what they're doing. I can see whatever they're doing being reflected in the price. And once you take that price and you plot it on a chart, and it doesn't matter whether you use candlestick, whether you use line chart, whether you use any chart, you should be able to see patterns being created. That's all there is to wave analysis. Patterns being created. People do things, and whatever they do, create patterns. You do things in your life, and whatever you do, create patterns. And if you are to commit a crime, they will find you by those patterns. They will study you as a person. They will study your personality. They will know your patterns. They will know your traits, and they're going to find you. That's how they find you, by studying the patterns that you create in life. Because you would repeat exactly the same pattern after the crime. And that's an easy way to find you. Right? We're creatures of patterns. We repeat ourselves more often than we think. And the same thing happens to the market. The market tends to do things, and whatever they're doing, I don't care whether they're manipulating the market, whether it's normal transactions, whether it's a government intervention, all of these creates a certain pattern. And we study that pattern, and we said, you know what, every time we see this pattern behaves this way, because we have studied them in the past and we've studied thousands of them, and I have created this method on how to study these patterns in terms of the way we look at them, not from the Elliott wave point of view, but from the way we look at them. And we've been doing this for years. We can tell you with very high accuracy, this is what we expected to do. Now, what most of the people who copy wave analysis do not understand the depth of it, or they may understand a certain amount, but not the depth of it, cannot tell you, is that it's a variable. It changes. Pattern gets more complex. And that is why when you're making a forecast for a single move, the next possible move, the probability is about 80%. If you're making a longer term forecast, your probability is about 95%. But the interim between those two, between the next single drop or the next single up move and the bigger picture, which will happen eventually, varies. It can get more complex. And that complexity is what we help you identify when you join us. That complexity is what we do on a daily basis. That's why we have 5 sessions, live sessions daily. And if you're a full member of our group, you get all 5 sessions and more. If you join us in the installment program, you will only get 2. So let me go through that variable. Remember when we were here, and I'm going to do this. This is the only piece I'm going to do. So details, the rest of them, I'm going to go really fast. Remember when we were doing this and we came back to the top, I said, guys, when that happened, very likely we come back here, we go back there, we come back here. Or normally, if this was a deep correction, we wouldn't even do this much. We'll come back here, we'll come here. And once we break this low, the chances are they're going to go break the top. Why? Because that's a 90% probability. 10% is they go lower. Now, going lower by itself does not mean the dollar cannot go higher. It doesn't mean that it's starting the big down move, which we're expecting. Remember, I said the big down move is a 95, 98% that's going to happen, which means they are going to go down. We told you that once we break these stops here, there's a 98% we're going to come back and break these lows. And that is going to happen. Remember when it break it once and then break it twice and people start screaming, hey, this guy has no idea what he's doing? And that's the complexity of the pattern. Well, it will go there. And it's not saying it will go up, it will go down. That's pure nonsense. People who say that don't understand what we're doing, right? So what we would do now is we'll go and find the turning points. And this would have been a perfect turning point if it had looked like this. If it had looked like this, see this drop here and see this correction here? That's a perfect turning point. Now this one went back to the top, and that is not a perfect turning point. So when you see that, you're on the side of caution. It doesn't mean we're not buying and selling. It means we are aware that if we're selling, this might not be the big move down. So what we looked at, we said, okay, well, if you break this, we sold this down, but if you break this now, we can still sell, but we're going to be cautious. It made a pullback. This could have gone above the top. Anybody who tell you otherwise has no idea what they're talking about. Right? People like to say it's going to do this, it's going to do this, it's going to do this, it's going to do this. It's more of a guesswork than they're understanding what they're saying. Right? Because I can always tell you if the move goes up, it's going to pull back and go. That's me just telling you something, but I can't identify the pattern and tell you what to do with that. Now, what is more important is not what I say, is what we do with what we say. So when we come down to the 4 hour, that's where we start analyzing what we're going to do. So we saw this up, we saw that, we're buying from here to go up, which is what we do with most of the pairs when we looked at them. The way I'm looking at this here today is we're looking for a sell setup. And it will only happen if this actually breaks. Now, this might not be a very huge drop. The probability is this will not even drop very far. It might just drop here and go back up. There's a high probability because normally you don't get a flat inside of the correction. You get a flat outside of the correction. And that's a trending mode. Now, it doesn't mean that it can't trend from here. It means that the possibility of this trending has just reduced. And you're always trading on a probability factor. What was the probability of this going? And what's the probability of this not going? So right now, we're looking for a sell setup. Now you're going to say, well, what if this goes up more like this? Can it do that? Of course it can do that. We just don't have a buy setup. Which means we're not looking at this pattern as a buy setup. We're looking at it as a sell setup. Can that change during the day? Well, let me show you how that could change. If this one is to make a sharp move here and then make a flag, of course we'll change it. But when we do that, we will be aware that this by itself is not only correction. That means this going up will come back here, make a running flat here, and then go back up one more. Now that just confused the heck out of you if you're not a wave analysis trader. But all my traders look at that and said, okay, I got it. They know exactly what patterns we would look for if this happened and how we're going to trade it. It's not only what you're going to look for, but how you're going to trade it. What are the rules of engagement? What strategy you're going to use to trade this? What are the limits to how far it can go? Right? When you know all of that in the pattern, that is what makes your life easy. That's what makes trading so enjoyable. And that's what makes you trade without fear, because even if it doesn't go to where you expect it to go, and you can see structural change, you're going to get the hell out of it because you understand what's happening. You understand that this is not giving you the move you're expecting to happen. So expect downside. Let's see what happens. Silver. And here's where it's going to get confusing, because I think silver is going to drop. So how can dollar index drop, right? Which means the value of dollar drop and the value of silver drop at the same time. Most times the value of silver should go up. Well, that is why I just explained to you that there is a possibility that this could work its way up higher. But we don't make that as a forecast because structurally this is showing us downside. At the same time, structurally, this is showing us slightly upside, which means this is going down really slow. But because we're breaking out of this structure, there's a high probability that it could continue to go down slow, much the same way dollar index continue to go up like this. Well, actually, if we get selling silver, we'll take it. And that's not because of this, what's happening here, but because of the bigger structure. And I showed you that already. We looked at this as corrective structure, which means every time you break the top, you tend to come back to the lows. So we'll be looking for sell setup in silver, right? These were little short-term buys. Now we're looking for sell setup. If this thing consolidates within this range here today, that's a sell. If it actually goes back to the top, we wouldn't be buying until we break out of that structure, which means we've got to break out of this, make a flag above it, and then we would consider the buy, because any buy in silver is of a higher risk than any sell, especially when you're going down and you're breaking out of this structure. So the sell setups are the easier one to trade with a higher probability of a good gain on it than the buy setups at the moment. Gold, we had a nice setup for a buy. That would have been more like a break-even trade. It's kind of consolidating. Gold also should go down. We also think gold should go down, but it doesn't have the same structure as silver. It just has this one single deep pullback. And every time we get a deep pullback, we assume they're going to go retest the low, right? Because that happens the majority of the time. 80% of the time, that's what happens. So it was coming down really nice. That sharp move just actually changed everything. But all of that could change again if this works its way down to the bottom. Remember, I said the depth of this pullback is what is going to be important. If this pullback pretty deep, then we're going to go back up once more. We're going to make that flat, and then we're definitely coming lower, right? If that happens. Now, is it going to happen? I don't know. Right now, it looks more like a buy setup, which means if they don't go deeper, but they break out to the upside, it's definitely a buy. Right? If this, for any reason, decide to break out of this structure, this down structure to the upside, and not just break the top. Don't buy if they just break the top, because they can do this and drop. That'll be a small flat. You want them to break above the top. You would even like to have a flag before you buy it. So it could be a buy setup. We don't know that that's going to be. If it stays under here, which means if they consolidate in this range here and keep dropping slowly, it's going to come back to about this level. Then we will go back up, but only after that we'll be dropping. So the depth of this pullback this week is going to be very, very important. They're telling us whether we are actually going to go make a new high, or it is going to just stay within this range and drop. And that is why you need to have live sessions to do this. And you need to have it more than once. Not a set of videos wouldn't train you how to do this, right? You need to have the live sessions where you can see us do it. Okay, this didn't drop very far. We expected this to drop. If we had sold that, I don't think we sell it, but if we had sold it, it would have been a break even, because it stayed there for like, I don't know how many hours, about a day or two. And that's enough time for you to get the hell out of it. So what it's doing right now, well, it's pulling back. It's still going to go down. The good thing about this is it's still going to go down, right? Because I don't think we're probably making a deep pullback like this here. Sorry, let me take that out. Probably making a deep pullback like this and then drop again. See, this one had a few deep pullback like this and then they drop. Similar patterns. Euro. I think Euro did give us a surprise with that sharp move. So remember what I said, Euro will consolidate in this range before it goes up. You see, there's a reason I have that arrow showing that Euro is going to go up from here, because we're going to consolidate in this range for a very long time. And the way I see it, if this works its way down to the bottom here and then go back up there, we will be here longer than I think we're going to be here. So if this breaks out, we're going to be looking for buy setups. I don't think this would be the start of the up move. It's a little too early. Looks like this consolidation is going to be here for a very long time, which means we'll be going up and down within this range. Any flag you get for sell, take it short term. Any flag you get for buy, take it short term. Right now, there'll probably be a flag for a sell setup short term. That will be a really, really short term one, because this is the impulse in that move. And if they start to do this, then they can do this for a long while coming back to this low. They're going to go back up. This would be a good buy, especially if it comes back to the bottom. That would be a good buy, because you're going to get a very sharp move very quick. You're going to get good rewards really quick. And then if that happens, we're likely going to drop. We're going to come back down because we have this move. Now, if it stays in this range, which means if they consolidate in this range and decide to break out, that would be a good buy, because you're assuming that they will make one like this. The worst case is they're going to break the top. They're going to go there, break that up, and then come back down. So you will still get a positive trade. So if it breaks upwards, which means consolidate and break upwards, you're going to buy. But at the moment, it has a sell setup, short-term sell setup, because there's a flag for a sell. This sell is limited, because I don't think this sell is going to drop through the bottom. This one is, well, there's only one chance for an expanding flat here. And these are the kind of things you will see us do in our trading. What I just did is that, okay, we have a sell setup here. We're going to take this trade, but we're kind of coming down slow. But then we will say, is there a possibility that it could drop really fast? Is there a pattern that exists that? And yeah, you would look at this and you would look at this and say, well, what if this piece was the correction and this was an expanding flat? Then this could suddenly drop. We will take the trade on that basis, and we're going to say, okay, we know it could drop, but it doesn't have to drop. Which means this might not be part of that one, and this might be a part of its own one here. So it will come down really slow. Now you would say, well, you just said it would come slow, it come fast. And that's the important thing about what I just said, is that you're aware of these two possibilities. If you're not aware of them, because, and what I mean you're aware of, I mean you will see how it's developing structurally. And that structure is going to tell you whether it's going to get a fast drop or a slow drop. But if you do not know that, if you do not understand how these structures are going to develop, you will have to be aware, just blindly hope it goes, right? We will look at how it's moving. If it's moving faster, it's moving slower, whether it could make a fast drop and reverse as well. What is the possibility of, how is it looking? What structure we think is making, what pattern is it creating at any given moment? And all of that will inform your decisions, what you're going to do. You'll stay with the trade, you'll move your stops, or you'll get out. Right? Those are the things that are important. And all of that is done live. So let's go. Pound. Yep, we're coming down, but as you can see, that's a correction, and pound doesn't necessarily have to come down very much. You got this one, they go, I think you're going to get another one, and I wouldn't be surprised. Any buy setup we get on pound, we'll take it. Just to remind you again, when pound broke the low, we told you that this one is going to go, right? That this is going to start to go really, really, really fast. And that was before they fired their prime minister. We told you that before they fired her, because they blame her that the pound is getting weak. And then the other guy came on, and he's already taking the praise for strengthening the pound, and it has nothing to do with him, just like it had nothing to do with her. Now you're going to say that's crazy talk, right? Well, unless you think I can see the future, because I didn't know they were going to fire her, but I know it's going to get weak. It's going to get stronger, right? That's the problem. We know it's going to get stronger once it breaks the low. So nothing to do with the new guy. He didn't even do anything for that. It's just happening. The market is controlling that, right? That's more planned stuff. So the reaction of the politicians is to what is happening, and they're reacting to it. Their reaction is not influencing it that much. They may think they're influencing that much, but they're not influencing that much. The market is influencing them more than they're influencing the market. They're reacting to the market rather than the market reacting to them as much. So I think all of us have the impression that the market reacts to what politicians do. I have a very strong feeling it's kind of the other way. They react to what the market is doing, right? They start screaming out when the market goes against them, right? Remember how Trump used to create that he has the highest market, the best market? That's what we were saying. We were saying he better pray that the market doesn't fall while he was in there, because the market was going to fall. Right? We knew the market was going to fall, and we were hoping that he better pray that it didn't fall while he was going to be there. Well, it happened while he was there. And he wasn't doing anything miraculously to make the US market grow big, because it all dropped during his stay. And that has nothing to do with him. You can't blame him for the upside. You can't praise him for the upside, just like you can't blame him for the fall. He would say, well, I have nothing to do with COVID. Yeah, but we know that some reason, like I said, we don't know the why. We know how it's going to behave. So we knew then, you can go back and watch all my videos, that this is going to drop because a correction is coming. Why? Who cares? Who's going to get the blame? Well, whoever is in power is going to get the blame. It's that simple. Not that they have anything to do with it, but they will have to take the blame because they're in power. That's a huge difference from how you should look at the whole structure. Who influences who is very important. So right now, this will get stronger. Can it come a little deeper? Yeah. Would I try selling the pound? No. I'll rather go sell euro, sell Aussie, sell New Zealand, sell silver. I would avoid selling the pound very much, because even the downside might be limited. But let's see, unless we get a really perfect flag to sell, then we'll sell it. But any buys in the pound is a must. You'll take it. Aussie kind of going sideways. The surprising thing is that this didn't break the top. Because normally when you get such a deep consolidation, a very nice flat like this, we normally do break the top. And they didn't break the top. So that means we're looking for two possibilities. One is that they stay right at the top here, but within this flat, like, come back here slowly, go back up there, make more corrections here, and then take off. So this would relatively be sharp compared to this. If we see that, that's one option. The second option is that this just pulls back deep, but start to make, running flats towards the upside. And that possibility also exists, where it will make running flats towards the upside, because both of these moves are relatively sharp. They one up and they one down. So what would be the trade for us? Well, we'll just wait to see what happens in this range. Right now, you don't have a buy or a sell setup. If this actually comes back and consolidates in this range, we're definitely selling. Possible short term, which means it might not even break this low. Because if they're going to consolidate in this range, it's going to be short term. And I don't think this one is going to drop to the bottom because that by itself is not a corrective structure. So we might be stuck here sideways for a longer period. Let's see which one happens, the long sideways or the running flat possibility. New Zealand already moved higher than we thought, which means once we broke out of this structure, we were expecting it to go to this level, come back here, and then there's a chance, there's a very high probability we might even break out of that structure. All right, we're working our way back to this top, and there's a chance we might even break out of that top. Right now, we didn't break the low, and that means if we come here, there's a good chance we're coming back to break the low. All right, because we didn't break the low the first time around. So the second time around, you'll come and break the low. Now, how fast it's going to get to that level, we'll have to see, because right now they're consolidating. And this, last week we looked at this and we were expecting this to drop back to this level because we had this move that was relatively sharp. It's coming down, maybe one or two more drop, and there's a good chance we'll start to get the upside. So if you're in the sell, and you probably should be in the sell, just keep track of it. Can it actually go much lower than in these lows? And a bigger picture, yes, if they start to make a deeper consolidation, because all of these were a series of relatively small flats going up. And this whole piece would be a single piece up, right? This whole piece here would be like one single piece up, one single impulse. So if at some point they decided they're going to go for a deeper sideways like this before you go, only then I see this possibility coming down. So we will keep track of it. We're in the sell. I think my traders are in the sell from this morning already. We'll keep track of this and we'll see how it goes. So as of now, all the sells are short term, right? You'll move your stops, you'll follow them, you'll think, because you see they pull back deep, so all of them can pull back deep. Every pullback, we get a sell setup, we'll take it. It has to break out, make a correction or flag, and then we'll decide we're buying it. So let's see how that goes. Swiss, yep, downside possible. I think we've got this one here. You get this, you make that, it's coming. So this is the range of consolidation. They're making a small one here. See, like coming back here, so they'll probably go back up. You'll get something like this and maybe one drop. It could also drop through the bottom of this. What's the bigger picture? Do I expect this to go down? Yeah, we'll probably break the low. This will definitely drop. Let's see if we can get this one here to consolidate. Oh, the only way we change that is if it go here. But if it goes here, we're not buying. Let it come back here and let it go back up, and then we're looking for the sell again. So most likely we're looking for a sell setup to break this low. The longer they consolidate in here, the more they consolidate in here, the higher the probability this becomes a bigger flat, right? With 1, 2, 3, and then drop. So it looks like we are in, based on what I see in the Aussie and what I see in the Swiss and Euro, it looks like we're in for some long-term consolidation here. So if that is happening, that is a tradable range. The range in this one is how much? Easily 240 pips, 250 pips, which means it's a tradable range. You can trade inside of it. You can wait for it to go to the top, trade downwards, wait for it to come to the bottom, trade upwards. Especially if we notice that's what they're going to, because they're already consolidating inside of these two moves. And that's a sign we're going to stay here for a while. CAD broke out, but we're still in this down move. And we had that previously, a big flat. They went sharp and they came back. A big flat, they go sharp, they're going to drop. So I think we're going to have one more downside. Right now it's going up, it's going to break this top, and then one more downside. So if you get another flag here, you can buy. See, there was a small flat here. So if they kind of make a small flat here, take the trade because it can spike like that and then come right back down. We had it previously. So we'll buy this. If we're lucky, they break out. But based on the depth of this pullback, I don't think we'll get that lucky. I think it's just going to get to the top and then come right back down. Yen, well, sell it. Any sell setup you get, you should take. If anybody managed to sell it, well, I don't think that would be a good sell. I don't think anybody would get it. But any flag we get there will sell. And you want a small flag. You don't want a big flag. Again, you don't want them to make a big correction. You want them to make a very small flag and drop. Now, once we break this low, that's where it gets interesting. Right? When we break through this low, that's where they hold. And remember, yen doesn't have to do anything that any other currency is doing. Yen doesn't have to follow the dollar. This is not a dollar movement. This is a yen movement. Right? This is not dollar getting weak. This is yen getting strong. So you have to carefully trade this as a separate one and trade all the yen pairs separate. Now, if you watch me last week, I said the same thing. Watch me a week before, I said the same thing. Watch me a week before. And that's exactly what we're looking for. Once this move proved that it started downside, and I think this could be the start of it, this thing is going to drop nonstop. There will be no, of course, some corrections will be there, but it's not going to return back to the top. So any sell setup you get, you should look for it. Any small flag will sell. Let's see where that takes us. Right now, it's not much of a flag. You just have 2 candles, 3 candles sideways. Wait for a flag, and then we have to sell it. Hong Yen. Okay, this drop also. So this sell we tried to sell last week here. That would have been a break even. It went up, come here, and you see this coming down here. You would have an entry over here, and you would have an entry over here. Right? Because it could break through this one, or it could go back, make a new high, and then break through. Well, if it had gone higher to this top, we'll ignore it. But now any sell setup going good, right? So we knew this was going to drop. Take a look for another sell setup here today. Actually, the yen pairs would be much easier to focus on this week because I think we're going to get better trades. Make a flag here and let's sell. It's already consolidating, right? So this consolidation, stay here a little more, and then we look for that sell setup. That should be the same for Swiss. All right, this was this sell. Not that one. It was this sell here. Take that out. This was the sell this morning. This one, though, be careful because once they break, remember we said once we break through this structure here now, the possibility is this could go back up one more. Now that might not be a yen movement, but that possibility. So why? Because we're looking at this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Can it go a little lower? Yeah, it can go a little lower. But then we're still trying to come back to this top before we drop. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3. So this one, be careful of the sell. The Hong Yen is a good one, but be careful of this one. New Zealand yen. We didn't break the top. It's a sell setup. We have a sell setup here. You can literally see it. If you guys took it, that's a good one. But we didn't break the top, and I really don't like the fact that we didn't break the top. Now, do we need to break the top? Yeah, I think we need to break that top. If we're turning for the big move down, we need to break that top. So there is a possibility that we could get a spike up that could either be, most likely would be the New Zealand rather than the yen to spike that up. But if we get flags here, we'll sell it. We'll figure out whether they're making a bigger consolidation. 1 second, guys, give me a second, please. My apologies, the YouTube viewers should know that I'm having a virus sickness, so if I have to mute every now and then, my apologies for that. Yeah, so this was a nice sell setup, actually. If you get another flag, sell it. Any other flag on a 1 hour, sell. This could still end up being a more bigger consolidation before they go. So we'll sell. Any yen pair will sell. CAD yen, sell. This didn't break the top, right? So the question, well, how deep would it go? Can it be that they make a deep pullback and just keep dropping? It happens, rare, but it's possible. It's like the 10% chance where this just keeps, where that is the top and they just start dropping from there. Because at where we are, that could be the top, right? At this point here, that could be the top. See, we broke this top. The key to this was breaking this top, and we did that already, right? So if they just make a very deep pullback to that top and decide to drop, well, then so be it. It's possible, right? We didn't break the top, and I think breaking the top would have been a better deal. But any sell setup you get, take it. Any flag you get, take it, because it could keep dropping. It would have to, the buy would come much later. They will have to reverse. They'll have to make a flag, and then we'll consider this going back to retest the top. Aussie yen. This one is a little thing too, because like the New Zealandian, we were expecting them to go and break the top of this structure. Now we knew this one was going to drop because you had this one, you had that flat there. This was coming here. It could come a little lower. I don't see them not going back to break the top. So if you're going to get sell set up here, be very careful. So let's go back to the 1 hour. And if we get sell set up on this, if we get sell set up on all the yen pairs, sell the dollar yen for sure. And if you're going to pick any other yen pair to say, pick something else but the New Zealand yen. The New Zealand yen this morning was a good sell because we were in this structure, right? If anybody saw this one and see this sell here, that's a good idea. That sell was good. Maybe one more here is still possible, but I'd be more cautious about selling this one. Because this literally looks like it has to make one more up. So we have to be careful with this. The other yen pairs are okay. Euro yen, sell. They don't have to make any upside. This could be the top, big flat drop, and it could keep dropping like this for a long time. We do have at least one more down. We have this one here more down, right? So there's a chance this goes here and maybe do this. Now, there's a high probability for that, looking at the pattern, right, for that upside. So if you look back at all the yen pairs, this one has this chance for a little more down and one more up. This one is almost definitely has to go back and break that up. Same here, this should go back and break, at least break this top here, not necessarily that one, but break this top before it comes back down. Canadian, we would like to see this also go back and break the top. Somewhere here, come and break this top before they drop because of the depth of this pullback. But that one is not a must. It's likely could happen. Swiss yen. Well, this will go back up too because you have this flat here and we need to go break that up and then come back down. So except for the pound yen, this is the only one that doesn't have to go anywhere because we already break the top. And this is coming from the top and this is actually dropping. So strangely enough, the only one that has a really good sell setup on the yen pair is the pound yen, which means there is no reason why it should go back up. Not that it can go back up, but there's no reason for the pound yen to go back up. All the other structures have possibility to go back up based on the patterns. Pound yen could just drop. So we might want to watch the pound dollar carefully because it's not going to be a yen move only, right? And dollar yen doesn't have to go back up for any reason. It could go back up. I'm not saying that they can't just stay here and consolidate in this range for a while, right? Like make a sharp move up, come down, make another one up, come down. That's possible. If everything is going to go sideways, yen could go sideways. And that might create those up moves within the other yen pair. So keep an eye on it. But if you already know that the two best sell setups will be the dollar yen and the pound yen. So let's see if we get them. Euro New Zealand. It's kind of going back up. That was a nice drop there. And it's a short drop. It did exactly what we expected to do. That is come back to about the bottom here and then go back up. Drop here and then go right back up. The possibility is this could go back all the way to the top. So if we get buy setups here, we'll take it today. I think we might be getting some buy setup. I'll take this off. I think we might be getting some buy setup here to see if we have a flag there because there was a consolidation here. We'll have to check it to see if it's a complete pattern. We have something here. Right, then this could be a flag for upside. Keep an eye on that. At least we can come back to this top. If they're going to continue to go down like this here, or like this one, they could go back up to the top and then come. So let's go for the buy setup if you see it, right? Euros. Okay, this didn't drop, but I think enough time to get out and take this off there. We're back at the top. What are we doing? Let's see. That's a sharp move. That's a sharp move down and a very strange pullback up. Both of them relatively sharp. Let's take this out and see something. I don't think this is the low because I don't think that's all the correction. And not, we don't really, I'm not looking for an expanding flat or so here. Right? Well, we can't exclude it. Let's see what happens here. There's no buy setup here either because this is a sharp drop. That's a pullback. If we get any sell setup, we'll take it. But there's no buy setup. I'll take this off because I don't think it's an expanding flat. We'll just wait and see why. It's most likely they're making a more complex pattern within this range here. Just getting a little more complex. So do we have a sell setup, let's say? No, not as yet. Keep an eye on this for a possible running flat. We'll look at this for a possible running flat. It should be valid right now, which means you don't want it to come back to this top. You want it to stay within this range. You don't want it to go back there. If it goes there, then we pull it. But if it starts to drop from here, then that running flat is very likely to go back down. Euro Swiss. Well, it's coming down, but there's a high probability for us to make one more move up because this most likely looks like a flat. So there's a good chance you're going to probably make one more up there and then drop. Yeah, this looks like a really good flat with this one having a flat in the middle here. So the possibility for that up move is there. Even if this comes back a little here, I still think we're trying to go. So wait for a setup if we get a flag. If you guys are in earlier, make sure you get out, but and try to see if we get a flag somewhere here. When this goes back up, make a flag, then we take the trade. I don't see them consolidating here a lot. Can they go up like that? Well, it's possible they could be doing this. Quite a lot of pullback in it before they go there, but the sell would be perfect. Right, the buy would be a little difficult. It's already showing some difficulty in the buy, but the sell would be perfect. Which means once it get there, look for a flag here and sell that because the drop is going to be sharp. Right, they're going to be dropping really sharp. EuroCAD. Okay, this one didn't drop, which means can we go up more? You have a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Probably this one. That might be a possibility. There's one sharp one here, which I can't put this yet. So let's wait. We don't have any, I'm not trying to buy to the top there. And we don't have the sell set up as yet. But at some point here, this would have to come back here before they go. Because I still think this is the 1, 2, 3. So we still have to get this. Let's wait on this and see if we start getting the sell set up, we'll go with it. All right, every time they break down, we broke the top. See if this becomes a flag for a sell, we'll take the trade. Euro pound. Euro pound came down. We don't have this move up. This is the structure we have. We kind of came down with this one here, drop, like drop here, drop there, drop there, drop there. And then we had that relatively sharp one. And we have this down. So it might even make a new low, but there's a good chance you're coming for this. Right? There's a very high probability that will happen. So if you're getting any sell setup there, you have to be very cautious with it, right? Because at the bottom here, it could break the low running flat possibility. I think we tagged it, the low. I'm not sure we tagged it. So right now it's kind of going sideways. Let's see this. And that means you might break the low again. There's a good chance that this one is going to go back up here, maybe pull back, do this, make a flat. There's a good chance you might tag this low, but then the upside is likely. Could this actually go up? Well, it could go up, but I was expecting it to go up until this deep pullback happened. Now, it's rare that they make running flats out of that, which means this, do this, pull back like this, give you a running flat here, and then take off. So if we see running flat, we're going to consider more upside and look for a buy setup. If we see a regular flat, let them break the low. We might even get a short-term sell, and then we'll start to look for the buy setup. Right now, you don't really have any trade there. Not for the upside, not for there. There probably is a buy in this, but that's relatively just for this piece, and it might not even go up as do like this more likely. So you might not really get a good trade in that. Let it come back here and then, but let it come back here, continue to go higher and do this. Either we get a running flat or it just breaks the stop and then come down. So we'll see which one comes first. The buy is not a great idea right now. Pound Swiss. Okay, we're getting another flat here. I think we can make an argument that they're making another flat here. So let's see. Did we break that top? Because if we break the top, then there's a good chance we could be making a deeper correction. We did. So there's a good chance that this here is a flat of its own, this piece. Okay. This is the top, and this is already coming down. So if this turns out to be a running flat, we'll look for a sell setup. Let's see what do we have in there. No, this is one of its own. They're coming back. Let's see if we get a flat here. Right, this is actually a flat of its own there, right? So if this actually consolidates here, then we take the sell. We'll take the sell because then we're getting a deeper correction. If the top was not broken, then yes, we'll look for more upside. So we'll just look for deeper consolidation and then upside. I still think we're trying to go up more. We're trying to go up more. So let's see if this is going to start a deeper correction or it's just going to take off. The buy setup is definite, which means any buy setup you get to take it, but we don't have a buy setup right now. Pound New Zealand, same here. It's kind of making this flat here, breaking the top. I think we have to come back here. I'm looking at this as a 1, 2, 3. We have to come back for this. But this was a mess, right? This kind of had a lot of deep pullback in it. So let's see. Once it gets to the top, we'll look for sell setups. There isn't a buy setup in this at the moment. I don't think that's a good idea. It's going up and it probably will go a little more, but not much more. I think they'll probably get to like here and then we start to look for, moves down back like this. Pause. Okay, so this one is a little more complex. I've got some real weird patterns here. I don't know where we put these three. Or do we put these like that? Yeah, possible. You can make an argument for a contracting flat in the middle here because these two are pretty sharp. Oh, sorry. These two here are pretty sharp, so that makes a good flat. And this one come down with this. So we'll have to go with a contracting flat. And any buy setup you get, it makes a flag here buy. What's the bigger picture? Upside. We actually have a full flat here, right? You could make an argument for this. This is one of its own. This is one of its own, right? So there's a sharp move. 1, 3, 5. Any flag here we buy. Take the 1 over flag and buy it. It's actually making a flag right now. That's a buy setup. Brown cat. We had a running flat, so it's a buy setup. You got a running flat here already. Wait for a 1 over flag, buy it. Any 1 over flag we can buy. Aussie, New Zealand. 1 more up and sell. 1 more up here. And then you can sell this. Remember, you have to trade this long term. That means that whenever you take the trade, you have to have the patience of, I don't know, like really have a lot of patience. Those are 1 hour candles you're looking at. That looks like a mess there. Those are 1 hour candles. And this would do the same thing. It's going to take, they take days and days to go. That's what they look like in the 1 hour. These are all 1 hour candles. So you can sell it. It'll probably go on that. Remember I told you it will get to the bottom here and we probably wouldn't get any trade in it because nobody has that amount of patience to stay with a trade so long. Right? If any one of you do have that patience, that would be really great, right? This looks amazing coming down, right? We saw that. We tried to sell it here and we tried to sell it here and we just give up because it's moving really slow. So if you get this one and you want to test your patience, you could sell that one and it's probably, at some point though, this will make a deeper correction and then drop. Right? But you can still sell. That's already a good correction in the 1 hour for a sell. And once this go back up to the top, you'll get a sell setup. Aussie cat. Okay. We're making a bigger flat there. Most likely, if this gives you a flag here, we'll take the trade to come back to this level. If we're lucky, they drop to the bottom. So if we get any sell setup there, we'll take it. I don't think the buy is a good idea at the top there. Let me see what it looks like. And the buy, although it looks like a buy set, not a good idea. Let's see if we get this flag. Take the sell. Come back to this level. You see, this one also came down really slow. So I think this was the top. Let's see which one is the top. This one is the top. So you kind of make a flat drop, pull back, drop. Go for the sell here. That's a better deal right now. Aussie Swiss. Okay, so this one did come down, but not from here. They actually went back and we're now in this big sideways move. So we can assume that this here is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I think we will go back up. There's a high probability that we go back up to retest that top. So be careful with any sells at the bottom here. Right, within this structure, they'll have to go back up because I don't think this is all the correction. So maybe one more up. Let's wait and see. New Zealand CAD, a buy setup on the bigger picture. Right now, this is going sideways. Might come here and then do this. If this range is big enough, we'll trade within it, but the bigger picture is upside. Right, during this one, if you get a range that is big enough to trade, we can take trades. But right now, there isn't any setup. See, this is just going sideways, and we'll probably stay here for a while. Wait for that and then go for the buy. New Zealand Swiss. Okay, I can pull this some more. Well, if they decide to go up from this point, that would be a good buy. And I can see why they might want to go up. All right. So we'll have to wait for this to stop, go up, make a flag, and buy it. We're not selling this until it break out of the structure and give you a correction here. Under the structure, right? If you get a correction on the structure, we'll consider that. But right now, it looks like we're looking like at least one more up, right? This definitely looks like at least one more impulse to the upside. Drop to the bottom, make a flag here or a correction here, and then we decide to sell. Cat Swiss. Yeah, there was a sell setup, but this one was not for this sell. This one was for this flag here. It went higher. So the sell would have actually been here if you're selling it. If you get a flag sell, we get another flag sell. Natural gas. Sell setup. Wait for the flag. There was a small one that's gone already. Wait for this to come here and make another flag, and then go for this trade. If you're lucky, that breaks out, but at least this one before they go back up. Right? If it's going to go back up, at least one drop. US oil. So US oil is coming down. The bigger structure is downside, right? This bigger structure is definitely downside. The problem is that pullback in there. Right, see, they're coming down slowly. This would have passed for a sharp pullback if this had dropped from like all of them. Drop, 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 right? If this one a drop, we'll go with that. But they made a really deep pullback here. And I don't think we had that deep pullback in any one of them previously. But let's assume that, that will become more of a long drawn out running flat in the future. What we do is every flag you get here will be a sell. So if you get a flag here now, we'll sell it. Without a flag, don't jump in the trade because they can make one more pullback. And one more sharp pullback is possible. So this was a sell setup because there was a flag. Let it stop, let it make another flag sell. If for any reason we see a reversal and a flag above this area here, then that becomes a buy. If it keeps dropping, wait for another flag sell, wait for another flag sell. Take only flags one at a time. Same here, same, right? This pattern, that pullback, there is a problem, right? It's not this deep pullback and drop. It's not a deep pullback. This deep pullback should have dropped and then it'll be okay. But it dropped and pulled back. That changes. You see, this one didn't drop and pull back. This one didn't drop and pull back. That's a change in the structure. So what we're thinking is that this might have to make one more up at some point, give us a running flat, and then drop. So it can come some more, go back up there, make a running flat, and then drop. So take every sell you get, but take it with caution. And this would have been this sell here. Wait for another flag. This could also pull back sharp here within this area for this running flat before it drops and then go back up. So we'll keep an eye on this. If you're in the sell, good. If you're not in the sell, don't jump in now. S&P 500. So we're still at the top of the structure, but we're still within the down move. Right? This is still within the down move. And that means we can drop one more. This could be a correction back to the top within this move, right? We have done that before. So what we're going to look for here now is what this piece does. And what this piece does. If you get a sell setup here, take it, but only take it to this level and get it to break even. So what you want to do is take this one and get it to break even because we can make one more high, right? This is a 1, 2, 3. It can go one more. Right? What we're going to do also is watch this. If they break through, although we tag the top, under the structure, any correction would be the long-term trade to make a new low. As of now, we're assuming it's just a flat. Let's say we didn't get a flag and it comes to this level. On the way up, any flag we're buying or an entry above the top. So it could be a short-term buy and a short-term sell, depending which one comes first. The sell first we're looking for, and then the buy. This one is good. This one should have been a good sell. Because now this actually did what we want. 1, 2, 3. You're getting this move down, wait for a flag. I don't know, that might have been a small. You'd have to take it in a really small flag to come here. And this is a good sell because this is coming back pretty low. Right? I could see this even coming back to this level and probably breaking out. Maybe go back up, but it's still a flat. Remember, we have a structure like this where, they do this and most times they're going to drop. They did go a little higher in that one, but they're going to drop. So keep an eye on this. This one is the flattest of them. Of the tree that we're looking at, this one is really flat. Right? This one is sharp. This is flat. US started. This is sharp. We're at the top, we broke this top, and now this is the point where they have to tell us what's going to happen. Right? Are we going to try to go down back again or upside? I think we have a buy setup. Put an entry for a running flat. You would definitely want to put the entry above the top. Right? See this one here, if you put the entry here, you got a trade. Actually, we bought this. Right? We bought this one here just to break this top and break this top. Right? So you got lucky if you took out a trade here. Same thing. This one is now breaking out. So this is upside. Structurally, this is already upside. Right? We're breaking out of this structure here. That means we want to retest it up, but we want to exclude a flat possibility here. Well, it looks like we're excluding it. Because if this is a buy, then the next, it could break this top. Maybe after that drop, but at least you're going to break that top. So let's see what happens there. DAX, definitely look for the sell. Let's see if we broke the top. Yeah, we did break the top. This is finally the top. Well, this is a very small flag, but if we get a flag here, we'll sell. If this stays as a flag here, we're looking for a sell setup, and that means we'll be selling this still. Because this is the high now. And the bigger picture is they can go down all the way back to this low. To this low. So that should be a very good trade to the downside. Nifty. More upside. We are about to break the top, so more upside. Bitcoin. Dropped. Nothing new here. We didn't, let's see, there was a small spike in here, let's say in the 1 hour that we were trying to get up to. Let me see if that happened. We're trying to make one more move up before we come down. No, we didn't actually get that move. This move. We got this, we got this, we got a 1, 2, 3 here, you got that. That's more of a flat like this. So this would probably come some more here and then go back up there, do this flat and still drop. So breaking the low doesn't mean upside. Breaking the low means one sharp move and then downside again. So there's a lot more downside here. Well, there's a lot more to go, by the way. ETH. So we're looking for this move and then the downside. So can we assume that that is enough for that move there for a flat and this drops? Yep, that should be enough. You could make an argument for that. So if we get a flag here, that could be a sell if you sell it. If you're not selling, wait for it to break the low and then upside. Wait for it to break the low and then upside. And this again. We're looking for this sharp move here too, right? This one here. And we only got this. It could still work. You could still make an argument for this being the running flat. And any flag you get here now confirms the sell. Breaks the low, look for buy setup. The same would be for all of them. I can go through each one. I think you can do this again, XRP. Same, this is coming down. This is a perfect flat here now. By the way, you have 1, 2, 3. So this comes down here, we have to go back up and then drop. So if this is the flat in the middle, then this has to come down here, which is what it's doing right now. We have to go back up and then drop. So this is not going to go immediately. All right, this is just going sideways. And LTC. Well, this just, if this is coming down now, it just has to come down, but it's more of a cluster for upside, right? This looks more like it could make a new high. Look for buy setup. Okay, this is coming down. And any flag you get there would be a sell to come down and break that low. ADMO downside. We never got this. Right? We kind of get this, come down here, go back there, come here, go there, come here. We'll probably get a sharp move here. And one more down. So a number of them have this consolidation where you could get one more sharp move and then the downside. So I think the same would be here, Link. You could make an argument for this. That's finished. So this one just needs to come down. Wait for a flag, sell. I don't think they can go up as yet from this point. Although Link has the possibility to go up. If this stays as a consolidation here rather than dropping, we'll consider that trade. AMP. Downside, I think this is clear. This is already going down. Strange that we didn't get, well, probably that's all the consolidation there. This is just breaking through. Or we're making a flat here and we go one more up. In any case, I'm not interested in the sell. So let it break the low first and then we look for the buy. But this definitely looks like a running flat. If you go with a running flat, you just have to put an entry above the top. If you take this as to be a running flat, right? So let's assume this could be a running flat here. Put an entry above the top. If it's not a running flat, it's going to drop, break the low, and then we look for buy setups, which means we would look at this as a correction of its own. It's a kind of sharp one, so I think the running flat is possible. And this is what. Okay, this looks downside, whatever the hell that is. This is definitely downside. You already broke the top, so you're coming back to break the low. So we can easily say we make this one, now we're doing this one. And we're gonna break the low again, and then upside. Right, once it breaks the low, we'll start to look for upside. This one doesn't necessarily have to go lower, right? You could make an argument for this. Maybe come here and then start going back up. That would make sense. Break the low. It's gonna drop, break the low. It's an expanding flat. We're looking for a running flat. We made an expanding flat. Then you think you get dropped this here. And let's go. Dash. Okay, dash went up much higher than I thought it would go. But we're still kind of in the down move here. Right, it's still in down move, although the pullback was really sharp. So wait for it to come down. It's already coming down. That was a nice sell setup if you sell it short term. If not, wait for it to drop, break the low, then we look for buy setups. And the same would be here. We can go through all of them. The same would be here. So it actually dropped nice. I think one of my traders was looking at this. Actually, this one is quite interesting because you're back at the low almost. So wait for it to make a new low and then go for buy setups. And I mean setups. If you want to know how to trade this to get in and get out, again, it's at the end of the webinar, join the live sessions. So this is kind of doing this. I think this is going to go back up one more and we could retest the low. So that possibility exists. If you're lucky, it just takes off like a rocket, but this one has a buy setup. This is a low, right? So this buy setup is perfect. It's either one more impulse up and you get out for break even, or it literally take off. All right, let's just make an assumption that this here was all for the running flat. This was the low and it's going, and this could go much higher. So keep your eyes on this. Okay, guys, I think we managed to go through. It's pretty long. See you all.